Hello guys, what's going on? My name is Marcelo and this is a channel where we talk about WordPress, all about the WordPress universe, plugins, themes, everything related to WordPress. And in today's tutorial, I'll be talking about a WordPress package I recently discovered called WordPress Scripts. But before we jump into today's subject, make sure to subscribe to this channel because I think you will like today's video, and also make sure to like the video and share with your friends, especially if your friends are developers and you think they will benefit from today's topic. Don't forget also to click the bell icon so you don't lose notifications about new videos coming in this channel. And also comment down below. I want to know, for example, how do you create your themes from zero, from scratch? What are the techniques you use? I would love to know that, because today's subject is all about this. So alright, let's jump into today's subject, today's tutorial. But before all that, let me tell you a little bit about my experience, my recent experience as a film developer. So I used to be that kind of developer. So I used to write my code and then I go to my browser and test it and reload the page to see the result, to see if the page is getting the way I want it. And then I'm not satisfied and go back to my code again and write some more code, and then adjust a thing or two here and there, and then go back to the browser again and reload the page again and again and again and again and again. But that used to be the Marcelo of the past, because now everything has changed now that I discovered this WordPress scripts package. And let me tell you why, and let me share with you all of the good things I discovered with it. So what is exactly this WordPress scripts package? It's a tool made officially by the WordPress team to help developers streamline their process as film developers or plugin developers. It contains a set of modern tools such as Babel and Webpack and ESLint and Prettier, and it can also pre-process your CSS and transpile your modern JavaScript code into code that browsers can understand. A lot of things, a lot of packages and plugins. The WordPress guys went there and put it all together to you, because it can be sometimes hard to put all of the pieces together. Babel, Webpack, and SAS preprocessor. Depending on your level of experience with web development, it can be sometimes hard to do and complex to implement. WordPress scripts is a tool that can abstract all of the initial work you have to configure, to set up all of those tools. Behind the scenes, it is using Node and the Node package manager to manage all the dependencies on your project, so you can integrate your WordPress plugin or theme with tools such as, for example, BrowserSync, that we will see how to implement today in today's tutorial, and other tools such as Tailwind CSS and Bootstrap if you're using Bootstrap, and other tools to other features, other packages, other libraries. In today's tutorial, you have a very practical example, practical approach about how to use it, and I think you guys will be amazed at the final result we will get using this WordPress scripts package. So let's move on, let's go to the computer, and you see that in practice now, alright? So here you see that I have my WP devs folder, which is actually a theme that I have myself created. This is my WordPress installation. I'm using local to control my WordPress installation. So you see here that I have my test site. It is actually running. You can tell this by this green circle here. The first thing we'll do to implement this WordPress scripts package is right click into my WP devs folder, open my integrated terminal. and I'll run npm init-y. So I have my package.json here already available. It's a simple JSON file. We don't have much going on here, but in the future, later in this tutorial, we'll have a lot going on here, especially new scripts applied to this file. Let's add our dependencies now. Actually, the first thing I wanted to tell you is that most of the code, most of the scripts and the comments I'll be applying in this project, I have already made them available beforehand. So I'll be just copying some parts of the code and then pasting them. And of course, I will explain to you what is going on. All right. So the first command I will need here to install my dependencies will be this one here. So I paste it, and actually it's installing WordPress scripts and also BrowserSync and npm run all. This npm run all will be responsible for loading more than one script at the same time in parallel for us. You see that in action later, okay? So let's move on, and I'll hit enter here. This can take some time, all right? Normally this takes 4 or 5 minutes to complete in my computer. So I'm gonna pause the video now, and then I'll be right back. So alright then guys, all is finished. And you can see that I have a new entry here in my package.json file. I have a dev dependencies with all of the dependencies installed. I have WordPress scripts. I have also BrowserSync and npm run all. I have also my node modules here. And let's go ahead and do one more thing. I have to update this scripts entry with new scripts. So let me just replace this one with this code here. So I have a couple of scripts going on here. I have start, wp start, build, wp build, and sync. The first one, start. It is using npm run all to run 2 commands in parallel. The first one is sync, this one here, and the last one is wp start, this one right here. The sync command is using BrowserSync to watch for modified files with PHP extension and also JS and also CSS. Those last two, JS and CSS, are inside the build folder that we don't have yet, but as soon as we run the next command here, you see that the package will create for us a new folder here inside my WP devs folder called build. It is using actually my WordPress installation that is currently at this address. You can find this address in your local app if you're using local, for example, under site domain. I copy it and then I paste it here. So if you're using local too, just go there and copy your site domain and paste it right here. And WP start, in turn, it is using WP scripts to start looking for the changes in files and putting them into the build folder that will be created later. You can run the start command once, and WordPress will be watching for all the changes and then building the project. Every time you change a file, for example, every time you make a change into your PHP files or your CSS files or SAS files, and then it will be reloading or rebuilding your project every time you save them. You see that in practice later, okay? We have also the build commands, build and WP build. It does almost the same thing as the start does, but you use it only once at the end of the project when you have your project ready for production. You go ahead and then minify all of your files and made it ready for production. It is also using WP scripts, but this time to build only once your project. All right, let's go ahead and save this. And in order for it to work, I have to create a new folder here. Let's call it src for source. And then you see that I have my build folder already automatically created for me here. It's empty for now. And inside this source folder, I will be adding 2 more files. The first one will be index.js, and the last one will be our index.scss. Let me import this SCSS file into my JavaScript. So import index.scss, save this, and let's add some CSS rules here. So for example, for the body, I will do a background of red, save this. And now, in order for the project to actually start working, we'll be calling one of these scripts using npm. Let's use this first one, start. So let me type in npm run start, and notice what will happen. So my browser is opening up here automatically, and every time I do a change, I make any modification to my project, you see that a new file will be updated inside my build folder. Actually, if I open it up now, you see that we have a bunch of files, JS files and CSS files and map files too. And here in my index.css, I have the rules I have just applied to my SCSS file, right? It's already compiled here, and I can actually use it now because you guys can see that the background here in my page is not red actually. So how WordPress will understand that? It's very simple. You just have to open your functions file and then add one more WP enqueue style here, calling this time our index.css, our newly created index.css file, which is inside my build folder. So let's go ahead and copy one more piece of code here and paste it here. It's not a big deal. It's just using WP enqueue style to load our CSS file inside our build folder. All right. Notice what will happen when I finally save this file. Now that WordPress understands where it will look for the CSS file. Save this. The browser has reloaded. The project has been built once again. And we have finally our background, which is red now. Let's do one more change. For example, let's use another color. So let's use a green color, for example. Save this. It's automatically reloading for us without the need to click the reload button. And now it's green. What a breakthrough, guys, don't you think? Cool, isn't it? And if you look at the updated index.css file, you see that we have now the green color here too, here inside this file here. If, for example, I am at the end of my project and I have it already ready for distribution, I can just stop watching the files. Let's stop this process using Ctrl+C, and then I can run the other script, the npm run build. Notice what will happen to this file here. Now, as you see, it is already minified and ready for production. So you can finally package your theme and redistribute it if that's the case, because we have our build folder and our files already in place and ready for distribution, right? Another interesting tool that we can integrate with our project is Tailwind CSS. And Tailwind CSS will help you write CSS faster because you can implement it directly in your PHP files or your markup or your HTML. To install Tailwind CSS is very easy, actually. Let's copy the command here. I will need So npm will install Tailwind CSS for us as a dev dependency too, and use npx to create our Tailwind config file. Just go ahead and hit enter. You can see now that we've got the Tailwind CSS here installed as a dev dependency, and also we have our Tailwind config.js file already in place. Let's go ahead and modify this script property here. Let me just delete this and replace with the code I have already prepared. I will make all of this code, all of the code I'm using here, I'm pasting here, available for you guys in the description down below, okay? So what is different here is that I added to the start script this Tailwind watch, and to this build script this Tailwind build. Tailwind watch is this one down here. It's using Tailwind CSS and having as input this file, index.css, inside our source folder. We don't have it yet available, right? We have to create it later. And the output will be inside our build folder in the index.css file that we have already here. Tailwind watch will watch, of course, all of the changes within our files, within our PHP files, and also JavaScript files. And for example, every time it finds a Tailwind class within those files, it will watch them and then compile them and output them inside our index.css file in this build folder. And it also minify all of that output. And Tailwind build, it will do almost the same thing, but it won't watch for changes. So let's just save this. And we need a couple of more modifications so that can work. For example, let's remove this index.scss. We don't need it anymore. Let's also remove this part here, this import, save this. And let's modify also our Tailwind config file. We don't have actually any rule for the content. Let's remove this and update this part of the code. With this one here, what it's saying is that Tailwind CSS will watch for all of the PHP files, looking for the CSS, the Tailwind CSS classes, and also JavaScript files will be also targeted. Save this. And now I need this file that is being mentioned here, this source index.css file. So here inside my source folder, let's create this index.css, and let's add some more rules belonging to Tailwind itself. So Tailwind will import base components and utilities, and then use them to actually format CSS and the page itself. Let's close this out for a moment, and then let's run the npm run start again. And now, of course, let's go ahead and test Tailwind. So what I'm going to do here is I want to modify something in my hello world post. For example, here. This page is using the single.php file, this template file. Let's add some Tailwind classes to this header, for example. So I'll call bg green 100, a padding of 8, a margin button of 5, display it as inline block, a width of full, and text white, for example. Let's see what happens. So let's save this. And Tailwind has automatically reloaded my page and applied my styles here. Let's use 900, for example, instead of 100. Save this. Perfect. One thing I forgot to mention to you guys is that the BrowserSync extension will also watch for changes in our PHP file. So if, for example, I remove this H1 paragraph here from my PHP template file, look what will happen. Now the page doesn't have the H1 anymore. This is very helpful because you can do some structure modifications to your template and they will be reflected back in the browser. Another thing that I forgot to mention to you is that there are two URLs being created. This one here, which is a local address. That is actually this one that you guys are seeing now. And we also have an external address that you can use, for example, to test your other devices such as a smartphone or a tablet at the same time. So all of the changes you see here in the browser, in the desktop, will be the same that you see in your smartphone or in your tablet. But that will work if you have the devices in the same Wi-Fi connection. Otherwise, it won't work. So with that, we finished today's tutorial. I believe you had a good surprise with that. If you haven't already used this tool before, at least I hope. And if you like today's video, again, I will ask you to like this video and also subscribe to this channel. It's free. Share with your friends, comment down below what you think of the experience, if you had already the chance to use this WordPress scripts package, and how do you think it will help you in your day-to-day work as a developer. Go ahead and let me know, okay? Thank you very much for watching, and I see you guys in the next video. Bye!